Jim has just been hired as a clerk typist in the personnel department. He's a bit concerned with the oath he signed, committing to serve as a disaster service worker in the event of a declared citywide emergency. So he seeks out his supervisor, Adam.
Adam, I signed the DSW oath, but now I'm wondering what I've committed to. Exactly what is a disaster service worker?
It does sound pretty heavy, doesn't it? And in one sense, it is. Our roles as disaster service workers play an essential part in the recovery and restoration of our city and its people after a declared emergency. And that's why it's so important for all of us to understand what it means and also to prepare our family and ourselves. Basically, it means that we all commit to helping out in a declared citywide emergency wherever and whenever we're needed. That work might be different at times than our usual work hours or in a different place. We might be assigned to a disaster service activity that's not part of our day-to-day job.
I just have this picture of having to pull people out of rubble or applying tourniquets and bandages. I really can't stand the sight of blood, and I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be very effective in those types of situations.
Don't worry. Your DSW task won't include any public safety, emergency response, and medical duties that are typically done by law enforcement, fire services, and/or emergency medical services. We'll leave the tourniquets to the professionals. While the directive states that you are considered to be acting within the scope of disaster services when you assist any unit of the City of Los Angeles Emergency Operations Organization or serve under the supervision or direction of the American Red Cross, you'll be fully able to perform the duties you're assigned. I've got an idea. Let me call in Lois. She was here and served as a disaster service worker in 2003 when the Southern California wildfires caused many to evacuate their homes. Lois, this is Jim. He's new and was asking about the DSW oath and duties. Can you tell him your experience?
Sure. I got called to serve in 2003. As the fire spread, many people went out of town to stay with family, but others moved into shelters. I helped out at a Red Cross station passing out food and water.
How much did you have to work?
Well, my shift was just 4 to 6 hours each day, but it was in the evening, which is not my usual time to work. Some people helped with providing food and snacks for the firefighters when they took a break from fighting the fires using a Red Cross truck that was stocked with supplies. And others transported food and supplies and helped with processing insurance claims. We all did our part to help those in need.
I'm sure it was encouraging to see all those people working together. The city actually lists 13 categories of jobs a DSW might have. They fall into 2 divisions, specialized and general. You can see that in the specialized division, it lists jobs that you would only be assigned if you have those specialized skills or already perform those jobs as your regular work. Most of us would instead be assigned to a job in the general division. That division comprises broader categories: administration, human services, labor, and logistics.
Lois, you mentioned that you had to work hours that were different than what you're used to. What about people that have kids at home? Will factors like that be taken into consideration?
I can answer that. It's a great question, and I think it speaks to the importance of being prepared. In the event of an emergency, while every effort will be made to permit you to care for your family first, it is possible that you would be required to work at inconvenient hours or at a moment's notice. That's why we stress the importance of planning ahead. Fortunately, there are all kinds of resources to help you do this, 2 of which are the Ready LA website and the Red Cross website.
As a floor warden, I also had to complete NIMS training. NIMS stands for the National Incident Management System. The NIMS training allows governments and organizations to work together across a broader spectrum than simply one city. It helps employees to prepare for, prevent, respond to, and recover from domestic incidents, regardless of the cause, size, or complexity. Most people required to attend NIMS training have greater responsibilities in their day-to-day jobs. Like any public safety personnel, supervisors responsible for field operations, and managers and directors of public safety, emergency response, emergency management, or public health services. I had to complete 2 online courses. The first one, which took about 3 hours, IS 700 Introduction to NIMS, explained the purpose, key components, and benefits of NIMS. And the second course, ICS 100, talked about the basic incident command system and described its features and organizational structure and how ICS relates to NIMS.
Jim, if you're interested, you can also get more training even if you're not a supervisor. Some people want to be part of a Community Emergency Response Team, or CERT. CERTs educate people about disaster preparedness and train them in skills that increase their ability to help their families and neighbors if professional responders aren't immediately available. Things like fire safety, light search and rescue, team organization, and disaster medical operations.
And there are other optional courses called Functional Response Training that will teach you things like first aid, stress management, CPR, and shelter management.
Well, even though, as you said, Adam, in one sense this is a heavy responsibility, in another sense, with all these resources, it seems doable. And you both have reassured me that I won't be outside my abilities. Thanks for your time.
For more information, visit dswready.lacity.org.